Hello, everyone. This is Gemelin again, one of the graduate students, and I'm about to give a presentation on the book review on What Chinese Want, Part 3. And my particular chapters were called The New Old Chinese Consumer. So, with this, I'm going to kind of give an overview of what I read and then go into my analysis and then end with my discussion question. So, here we go. A summary of the content is that part of the book covered a variety of Chinese dimensions and explained how brands play into different consumer perspectives. Generational differences affect everything from brand perception to consumer purchasing, and Doctoroff, the author, also shared several case studies showing American brands attempting to infiltrate the Chinese market. So he breaks down the market into specific niche industries, including luxury, auto, digital, and food. And lastly, he ends with an in-depth analysis of Chinese demographics, which also include the middle class, senior citizens, and Chinese tiger moms. So as you can see, he goes into a lot about the different generations and the differences and the perspectives of the two generations. To dive in deeper, I wanted to do a chapter analysis that kind of divided the chapters into three categories that I decided on. The first of which are case studies. So, as an introduction, the author dives into Chinese consumerism by providing three different case studies. So, he compared Barbie to Hello Kitty, and he shared how symbolic features of each brand compared to one another. And then he also used Starbucks as a case study. He used it as an example of a positive brand becoming international through niche marketing. So he talked about Starbucks catering to the culture of face, and therefore Starbucks sold the idea of upward mobility by marketing to young Chinese professionals. And you see here I included a photo of Starbucks in China. The most telling case, though, that I thought was most interesting was the Chinese National Cereals, Oils, and Foodstuffs Corporation. They had a tainted milk crisis in 2009, but instead of the revenue going down, the organization actually announced a complete chain management optimization, which really won over Chinese consumers because of the people's anxiety over the country's ongoing corruption and unprotected material interests. So, as you can see, the Chinese people really look for reassurance and quality and affordability. And to relate that to our reading, they have a high uncertainty avoidance, and so they really want to make sure that their brands are safe and reliable. So from my analysis, you can see that Chinese consumers may buy American brands, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are purchasing it for the same reasons. As marketers, we really need to be careful not to interpret this relationship as the Chinese becoming westernized, but rather make the appropriate changes to our brands to fit into the existing culture of China. Next, Dr. Off really dove into Chinese demographics. So he explains this by highlighting characteristics of the middle class. The middle class is something relatively new to China, but it's really rapidly growing with an expectation of 700 million middle class citizens by 2020. Within the class, culture is traditionally conservative, and the culture is always seeking society's stamp of approval. This is really opposite of what we practice in America, where innovation and individuality is really embraced. Another demographic that he dove into were two subsets of populations. So that includes senior citizens and moms, or as he calls it, tiger moms. Currently, the senior market in China is not necessarily targeted, but it is rapidly growing with an expectation of 200 to 500 million Chinese seniors by the year 2025. This demographic really values family, promotes Confucian obligation, and really fears displacement. Next, he talks about tiger moms, which I included this photo here. Tiger moms represent another population where high expectations and anxiety really transfers on to their children. The demographic pushes high academic achievement and no extracurricular activities. All non-academic activities such as soccer or music, which are two of the most popular, are only meant to enhance academic performance. So they're not really meant to be for fun, but rather used as tools to enhance performance. In terms of advertising, these populations represent specific demographics that brands should be targeting in different ways. For the middle class citizens, brands really need to show how a product will advance them professionally. For senior citizens, brands need to show that they need to create an environment where seniors feel secure. And for tiger moms, advertisers need to relate all products to academic rigor or achievement. My analysis continued, kind of goes into niche markets. So the author really outlines 4 niche markets in China. And here we go. 4 of them are luxury brands, digital platforms, food, and also automobiles. So luxury brands really represent status, not beauty for the Chinese. As we know, it is a collectivistic society, so the concept of status is really important. And even consumers that can't necessarily afford expensive luxury items actually still make purchases. So, according to the author, he actually said many status mad 30 somethings buy Gucci keychains and not handbags, as an example of the importance of status within the country. We also see several digital platforms used as a way to escape reality. The internet, gaming, and online activities provide an outlet for youth to express themselves and serves as a place for gratification, whether it be sexually or just used for acknowledgement or just pure entertainment. And so these are some of the social media outlets used in China. Another niche market is food. So, food in China is not only very good, but it's a symbol of Chinese culture. Everything intertwines and serves as a purpose for the entire dish. You can see here it's placed strategically and it's very harmonious. Emotions, healing powers, values are all things that are represented in the way Chinese food not only tastes, but how it's served to others. So, as you can see, whether it's luxury, digital, or food, advertisers really need to understand the motives behind niche purchases and how Chinese society views these particular markets. Lastly, I have a case study analysis. So, I mentioned before one of the niche markets was automobiles, and Dr. F really describes China's automobile market as crazy. While China's environment may not be suited for automobiles, millions are still being sold. And what's interesting is that not one auto brand has loyal buyers, but Chinese consumers remain anxious about safety. So, as part of my discussion, I wanted to provide an example of a brand effectively using one of Chinese niche markets of automobiles. So, I would encourage you to watch the video that I provided called Porsche 911 Birthday Song. And the video kind of talks through a case study where a Porsche campaign uses several dimensions in order to target the Chinese market. So my analysis, after you watch the video, you can come back to this. And my analysis is basically that the Porsche campaign illustrates several concepts that would appeal to newer generations and older generations. Some of the dimensions that would work for newer generations is their use of social media. So their version of YouTube is actually called Youku. I believe that's how you say it. And they created a gaming component of the ad by allowing students or young audiences to unlock codes and watch more videos if they played the game. Dimensions that would appeal to an older Chinese consumer while still remaining relevant is that they included 7 generations of Porsche. So you can see that picture here. And by featuring the evolution of the brand, Porsche showed the importance of history and ancestors. So as a collectivistic society, you can see that that's an important component. Lastly, the brand understood the importance of the automobile in China. So, according to Dr. F, the need to project authority explains why auto benefits are externalized as vessels of professional progression. So, that shows that Porsche played into the concept of authority and really showed professionals buying a Porsche would be a gateway to higher society status. So, status is also an important thing in China, as we previously discussed. This leads me to my discussion question. So basically, my question is, in section 2 of my review, information is provided on Chinese seniors and tiger moms. Comparing these two demographics to America, what similarities and or differences do you notice between the two audiences when it comes to values? So I would love to hear more about what you guys think, and I look forward to interacting with you guys offline. Thanks. Bye.